welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever really stopped to think about what actually makes a leader truly effective?
hmm
I mean, is it just the fancy title or, being the one in charge? Or is there something uh, deeper going on, like a set of core principles, maybe?
That's exactly the question, isn't it? And it's what brings us to John C. Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's a book that's really struck a chord with a lot of people.
Right. And not just because it's catchy.
No, not at all. Maxwell isn't really talking about the latest management fads or, quick fixes. He's laying out these timeless, universal ideas that seem to hold true pretty much anywhere. Big company, small volunteer team, even trying to be more effective in your own life.
Which is exactly what we want to dig into today. Our mission, really, is to unpack these irrefutable laws. Like, how do they actually work? What do they really ask of us as leaders? And probably the big one, how can you listening right now use them to level up your own leadership game?
Yeah, and why call them laws? That's key. Maxwell suggests they operate like, say, gravity. You can ignore gravity, but, well, you know what happens. These laws, he argues, work whether you believe in them or not. Ignoring them leads to problems eventually. Applying them, that leads to growth.
Okay, so understanding them could seriously unlock some potential. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. Maxwell's whole argument kind of hangs on this one core idea. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Simple phrase, but profound implications.
It's not just a slogan then.
Not at all. It underpins everything else. And he's really clear. Leadership isn't some magic talent you're born with, and it definitely doesn't just come with a title. It's a skill set, something you learn, something you develop. A mindset, really. It takes time, effort.
And that directly links to potential, right?
Yeah.
The quality of the leadership sets the bar for how much an individual or even a whole organization can achieve. Weak leadership means, well, a lower ceiling.
Exactly, like a lid on a
Okay.
jar, which leads perfectly into his most famous definition, I think. The true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less.
Influence. That word comes up a lot.
It's critical because it draws a sharp line between just having authority, the power given by a position, and real leadership. Authority can be assigned. Leadership, that has to be earned.
So it's about people wanting to follow you, not just having to.
Precisely. Compliance versus commitment. The real proof isn't your job title. It's whether people willingly follow your lead. You know the saying, if you think you're leading but no one's following, you're just taking a walk.
Okay, so back to these irrefutable laws. You said they're like gravity, unchanging truths.
That's Maxwell's stance, not just helpful tips you can pick and choose. They're fundamental principles. Break them, consciously or not, and things tend to go wrong over time. Follow them, apply them consistently, and you foster growth, loyalty, success. It's almost like they're baked into how human dynamics work in groups.
So understanding them gives you a kind of roadmap.
Yeah, or maybe like operating instructions for effective leadership. It beats guesswork anyway.
All right, let's get into the first one then. Law, #1, the law of the lid. This feels foundational.
It really is. Maxwell says leadership ability is the lid that determines a person's level of effectiveness. The lower an individual's ability to lead, the lower the lid on his potential.
Okay, that sounds a bit harsh maybe. It basically says no matter how smart or ambitious you are, your leadership skill caps your overall potential. And your team's potential too.
It is confronting, yeah. But think about it.
Yeah.
If your leadership ability is, let's say, a 7 out of 10, this law suggests your overall effectiveness, the impact you can have, the results your team can achieve, it's all capped around that level 7. It affects everything: strategy, relationships, vision, execution.
Can you give an example?
The classic one is the McDonald brothers versus Ray Kroc, the brothers.
Yeah.
Brilliant innovators. They created the fast food system, but their leadership lid was relatively low. They couldn't really envision or manage massive scale.
They kept it small.
Right. Then Ray Kroc comes along. He wasn't the founder, but his leadership lid much higher. He saw the global potential, and crucially, he had the leadership ability to mobilize people, build systems, attract investment, basically, to make it happen on a huge scale. Same product, different leadership lid.
Okay, I see that. But is that lid fixed? Are we just stuck at whatever level we're at?
No. And that's the crucial good news here. The lid is flexible. It's not set in stone. Maxwell stresses this. You can raise your leadership lid, but it takes work. Real intentional effort and dedication. It's not just about talent, it's about development.
So how do you actually raise it?
Well, first step is brutal honesty. You need to figure out where your lid actually is. Self-reflection helps, sure, but getting anonymous feedback, like 360 reviews from your team, peers, boss, that can be really eye-opening.
Okay, find out where you stand. Then what?
Then it's about targeted growth, actively seeking feedback, maybe leadership training workshops, reading, finding mentors, identifying your specific weaknesses, and, really working on them. And here's the kicker. Investing in your leadership directly raises the potential of your whole team or business. It's a high leverage investment.
That connects nicely to the next one, law #2. The law of influence, we touched on it. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. It reinforces that it's earned, not given.
Exactly. It hammers home that point. And it's powerful because it helps us bust some common myths about leadership.
Myths, like what?
Well, first, there's the management myth. People often confuse managing things, systems, processes, tasks with leading people. You can be a manager, have the title, but if your team only does things because they have to, not because they're inspired by your direction, you're managing, not necessarily leading. Leadership gets buy-in, not just compliance.
Okay, management isn't leadership. What else?
The entrepreneur myth. We often think successful entrepreneurs are automatically great leaders, but not always. Someone might be brilliant at creating a product or spotting a market opportunity, but lack the people skills, the experience, or maybe they're just too focused on profit to build the trust needed for real leadership.
So innovation isn't leadership either.
Right. Then there's the knowledge myth. Knowledge is power. True in some ways, but having a high IQ or lots of degrees doesn't automatically make you a leader. Leadership needs more than just smarts. It needs the ability to connect, inspire, mobilize.
Got it. What's next?
The pioneer myth. Being the first one to do something, to invent something, doesn't make you a leader. It makes you a pioneer, an innovator maybe. But leadership requires followers, people choosing to go with you.
And the last one?
The position myth. This is probably the most common. The idea that leadership comes from the title, the corner office. Maxwell flips it. It's not the position that makes the leader. It's the leader that makes the position. Think about it. Bad management, which is often leadership failure despite the title, is a huge reason people quit jobs.
Okay, so those myths really highlight that it all comes back to genuine earned influence. How do you build that?
Maxwell breaks it down to 7 key areas. Character, who you are fundamentally. Relationships, the connections you build. Knowledge, what you know, yes, but applied wisely. Intuition, that gut feel, that leadership sense. Experience, what you've been through. Past success, your track record. And ability, your actual skills and competence.
7 areas, that's quite a list.
It is. He suggests rating yourself, like 1 to 10, in each one. It helps you see where you need to grow. Think about someone like Mother Teresa. No official power, no army, no corporate title. But her influence. Immense. Why? Because of her character, her actions, her connection with people. That's earned influence. Even just volunteering consistently builds those influence muscles.
That's a great point. Okay, moving on. Law #3, the law of process. The subtitle is Leadership Develops Daily, Not in a Day.
Yes. This one is all about the long game. Leadership isn't an event, it's a process. Continuous learning, self-discipline, character building. Maxwell compares it to compound interest, like that story of Anne Schieber, who built a fortune from tiny, consistent investments over decades.
Small daily actions adding up over time.
Exactly. It's your daily habits, your priorities, your choices. They determine where you end up as a leader. It covers everything. Passion, skills, relationships, attitude, discipline, vision, influence. You can't just wish yourself into being a great leader. You have to put in the work every single day.
So you need a plan. Like a personal growth plan.
Absolutely. You have to be intentional about it. Like Larry Bird shooting 500 free throws every single day. That wasn't random. It was a disciplined process to achieve mastery. And it's not just about you. As leaders, we also have a responsibility to help our team members grow, to set them on a path for success. It's a shared journey.
How do you make that practical day to day?
Simple things, really, but done consistently. Dedicate time to read books like the one we're discussing or others on leadership. Listen to podcasts. Follow relevant blogs, attend workshops or conferences. Make learning and development a non-negotiable part of your routine. It's a marathon, remember?
Right, daily steps. Which leads logically to law #4, the law of navigation. Once you're on your growth path, you need to know where you're steering the ship, so to speak.
Precisely. Jack Welch from GE said, controlling your direction is better than being controlled by it. That's the essence of navigation. It's more than just having a fuzzy vision.
How so?
It's about figuring out how to get there. What will it actually take? Good navigators look ahead. They anticipate obstacles, potential problems. They also look back, learning from past successes and, importantly, failures. They chart the course. They don't just react to the waves. Maxwell says, anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course.
So it's proactive, not reactive.
Totally. And good navigators understand that their team is counting on them to plot a sound course. You can't just wing it. Maxwell offers a great little acronym for this. Plan ahead.
Plan ahead. Okay, break that down.
Sure, predetermine your course. Lay out your goals clearly. Adjust your priorities to match. Notify key people, get them on board. Allow time for acceptance. Change takes time. Head into action, execute. Expect problems, plan for them. Always point to successes, celebrate wins. And daily review your plans so they're on track.
That's actually really practical. How does that look in a business context?
It means things like regularly reviewing past projects, what worked, what didn't, doing your homework, your research before launching a new initiative, not relying only on gut feeling, but balancing facts with faith in the vision, and critically surrounding yourself with trusted advisors who can offer different perspectives and challenge your thinking.
Good advice. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Law #5, the law of addition. Leaders add value by serving others. This sounds very people-centered.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's about intentionally making yourself more valuable by making others more valuable. And Maxwell claims something like 90% of this is intentional. It doesn't just happen by accident.
So you have to actively look for ways to add value.
Yes, and that means really getting to know your people. What are their goals? What are they hoping for? What are their challenges? Only then can you figure out how to genuinely help them succeed. He contrasts inexperienced leaders who jump in and try to lead right away versus mature leaders who listen first, learn about their people, then lead.
Any examples of this?
Costco's Jim Sinegal is a prime example. Walking the floors, wearing the same name tag as everyone else, visiting stores constantly. But more than that, pushing for much higher wages, better benefits than competitors.
That definitely sounds like adding value to employees' lives.
Hugely. And look at the result. Incredibly low turnover in retail, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
It shows that adding value isn't just nice, it's smart leadership. It builds loyalty, improves performance. It's about advancing others, not just yourself. How? Recognize their strengths, teach them things, give them insights, invest in them, treat them as individuals, serve their unique needs.
That emphasis on serving others connects well to law #6, the law of solid ground, which is all about trust.
Trust is the foundation of leadership. Simple as that. And arguably, in today's world, with so much cynicism about leaders, building and keeping trust is maybe the biggest challenge. Without it, Maxwell says, a leader has nothing. Influence vanishes.
So how do you build that solid ground of trust?
Maxwell highlights 3 pillars. Consistently showing competence, you know what you're doing. Connection, you care about people. And character, you have integrity. Treat trust like your most valuable asset, because it is.
And how do leaders earn that?
By making sound decisions, for one. By admitting mistakes, that's huge. And by consistently putting the team or the organization's needs ahead of their own personal agenda. You break trust, it's incredibly hard, maybe impossible to get it back.
Maxwell uses an analogy here, doesn't he? Like coins.
Yeah, trust coins in your pocket. Good decisions, ethical actions add coins. Bad decisions, broken promises, character lapses subtract coins. And you only have so many before people just stop following you. Interestingly, people often forgive mistakes of ability if you show you're learning and growing, but mistakes of character, much harder to recover from.
So practically, it means being self-aware about your trustworthiness, work on your skills, building empathy, communicating openly, being available, learning names, and when you mess up, own it. Apologize sincerely.
Exactly, which flows right into law #7, the law of respect. Because trust and respect are deeply intertwined. This law states, people naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves.
Stronger. Meaning
more capable, more proven, more respected. Leadership is voluntary, remember? People choose to follow. And they tend to choose leaders they respect. A common trap, especially for naturally talented people, is relying just on talent. But good leaders know respect has to be earned, continually.
Maxwell breaks down respect levels.
He does. Respect you as a person, they admire you. Respect you as a friend, they love you. Respect you as a leader, they follow you. Lose that respect, you lose the following. Think about any group, there's usually a natural hierarchy based on perceived leadership strength. A level 7 leader isn't likely to willingly follow a level 2.
So how do you earn that crucial respect?
First, act like a leader people want to respect. Have vision, integrity, strive for excellence. Second, invest in others, help them grow, recognize their potential, inspire them, be positive, be bold. Third, get results. Competence earns respect. And finally, be loyal. Defend your team, don't gossip, have their backs.
Okay, respect is earned. Now, law #8, the law of intuition. This one feels a bit harder to grasp, maybe. Leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias.
It can be tricky, yeah. Intuition here isn't just a random feeling. It's like a blend of facts, experience, instinct, and reading the subtle stuff, morale, momentum, team dynamics. Maxwell suggests every leader has intuition in their area of strength.
Is it something you can learn?
He argues it might be the hardest skill to fully develop if it's not somewhat natural because it goes beyond just experience. Intuitive leaders can often sense things, read situations, see patterns others miss, sometimes without all the data points. They're just
Like
so...
the Steve Jobs example,
Yeah.
collaborating with Microsoft.
Exactly. Apple was in deep trouble in '97. Jobs comes back. The rivalry with Microsoft was intense, bitter legal fights. But Jobs intuitively saw that a $150 million investment from Microsoft, plus a commitment for Office on Mac, was the lifeline Apple needed right then to signal stability and restore confidence. It seemed crazy to many, but his intuition was spot on. Stocks jumped 33%. He read the larger situation.
So if it's not entirely natural, how do you cultivate it?
You have to work at it. Pay close attention to your environment. Ask probing questions. Stay flexible in your thinking. Learn to trust your gut when it's backed by patterns of good past instincts. And really practice reading. People observe, listen deeply, understand different perspectives and cultures. Over time, you build that internal compass. Now, staying with the who you are theme, let's look at law #9, the law of magnetism. Simple concept. Who you are is who you attract, or like attracts like.
So the kind of people you draw into your team or your life reflects your own character and values.
Pretty much. Your personality, your work ethic, your attitude, your values, these act like a magnet, attracting similar people, whether employees, clients, or even friends. It's a call to self-awareness. Know your weaknesses, work on them, because they're likely being mirrored in the people you attract.
And this shapes the whole organizational culture.
Absolutely. The leader sets the tone. Attitudes tend to align. If you want to attract talented, positive, driven people, you need to embody those qualities yourself, or at least genuinely value them. Maxwell puts it bluntly. If you want to grow an organization, grow the leader. And if you want to attract better people, become the kind of person you desire to attract.
So the practical step is continuous self-improvement.
Yes. Make leadership development a lifelong pursuit. Think consciously about the qualities you want in your team: attitude, coachability, excellence. Then ask yourself honestly, do I model those? If not, identify the gaps and maybe get a mentor to help you work on them. Your growth attracts growth.
Okay, so you attract who you are. Then law #10 is about connecting with them. The law of connection. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand.
Such a powerful line. It means people need to feel an emotional connection. They need to feel cared about before they'll truly commit to you or your vision. It circles back to that famous quote, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
So competence isn't enough. You need that human touch.
Exactly. Credibility comes from genuine care. Real connection means valuing people, learning about them, and this is key, adapting to them. Don't expect them to change to fit you. You need to meet them where they are. Build the relationship first.
Like Frederick Douglass.
A perfect example. His power wasn't just logic. It was his ability to make audiences feel the injustice of slavery. That emotional connection moved people to action in a way facts alone couldn't.
How do leaders do that today? How do you connect?
Be confident in your purpose, but also be sincere. Find common ground, connect with what they care about. Avoid hypocrisy like the plague. Break down communication barriers, speak their language, understand their world. Focus on them, not yourself. Speak belief into them. Paint a compelling future, but also show a clear path to get there.
That's deep. Okay, law #11, the law of the inner circle. A leader's potential is determined by those closest to him. How is this different from magnetism?
Magnetism is about who you attract based on who you are. Inner circle is about who you intentionally choose to surround yourself with and how they shape you. It's the you are the company you keep idea. Your grandma was right.
And insecure leaders mess this up.
Often, yes. They might surround themselves with yes men or people less capable because they feel threatened, but that just limits their own growth and the organization's potential. Secure leaders actively seek out people who are smarter, more skilled, more experienced in certain areas, people they admire and can learn from.
So the advice is?
Be intentional about who's in your inner circle, who challenges you, who brings skills you lack, who adds value. And importantly, how do you add value to them? It should be reciprocal mentorship, opportunity, accountability, appreciation. As Maxwell says, become the best leader you can, then surround yourself with the best leaders you can find.
That makes sense. And empowering those people leads us to law #12, the law of empowerment. Only secure leaders give power to others.
This builds directly on the inner circle. Secure leaders aren't afraid to identify talent, build people up, give them resources and authority, and then trust them to run with it. They delegate real power, not just tasks.
And insecure leaders.
They hoard power. They micromanage. They might feel threatened by rising stars. They keep people down, thinking it protects their position, but ultimately it limits everyone, including themselves. Remember that Theodore Roosevelt quote.
Remind me.
The best executive is the one who has sense enough to pick good men to do what he wants done, and the self-restraint enough to keep from meddling with them while they do it. That's empowerment, trust, and restraint.
And Maxwell says empowering others actually makes the leader stronger.
Absolutely. Enlarging others makes you larger. When you develop leaders around you, your own value increases, your capacity expands, and the whole organization benefits exponentially. Practically, it means working on your own security and self-worth, knowing your team's strengths, and having the confidence to delegate meaningful work, providing the support they need to succeed.
Okay, we've covered the first 12 in detail. There are 9 more. Maybe we can group some of the remaining ones to get the core ideas across.
Good idea. Let's think about, say, clarity and credibility. That brings in law, #13, the law of the picture. People do what people see.
Walk the talk, basically.
Exactly. Your actions scream louder than your words. If you model integrity and effectiveness, your team is likely to follow suit. If you cut corners or act unethically, well, that sends a powerful message too, unfortunately. You set the standard by doing.
And that connects to law, #14, the law of buy-in.
Perfectly. People buy into the leader, then the vision. Your credibility comes first. If people don't trust you, don't believe in you, they won't buy into your brilliant plan no matter how great it is. You can't separate the leader from the cause.
Okay, credibility first. What about getting things done? Victory and momentum.
Right. Law #15 is the law of victory. Leaders find a way for the team to win. They just refuse to accept defeat. Think Captain Kirk beating the no-win scenario.
The Kobayashi Maru.
That's the one. Or Coach Lou Holtz saying, you need great athletes, but coaching makes the difference between winning and losing with them. Leaders take responsibility for victory. Maxwell says it means 3 things: unity of vision, diversity of skills on the team, and a leader totally dedicated to winning and raising everyone's potential.
And that leads to law #16, the law of the big Mo, momentum.
Yep, momentum is a leader's best friend. Once you get it going, everything feels easier, obstacles shrink, problems seem manageable. It's like inertia, hard to start, but hard to stop once it's rolling.
But getting it started is the hard part.
That's the challenge. It takes vision, a good team, and motivation. And importantly, leaders create momentum. They don't wait for it to happen to them. They're the engine.
Okay, how about effectiveness and sacrifice?
That covers law #17, the law of priorities. Activity is not necessarily accomplishment. Being busy doesn't mean you're being effective. Leaders need to think ahead, know what's truly important, and focus their energy there.
The Pareto principle, 80-20.
Exactly. Focus 80% of your effort on the top 20% of activities that give the biggest return. Maxwell also uses the 3 R's. What's required, only you can do it. What gives the best return and what brings the most rewards. Personal satisfaction keeps you energized.
And law #18, sacrifice.
The law of sacrifice. A leader must give up to go up. Leadership isn't just about perks. It demands sacrifice, often significant sacrifice. You have to put the team first.
Like Martin Luther King Jr.
A powerful example. He knew the risks, the costs, but the vision required sacrifice. The bigger the vision, Maxwell argues, the bigger the sacrifice required from the leader. It's about putting others first.
And finally, let's group the last few under strategic timing and lasting impact.
Sounds good. Law #19 is the law of timing. When to lead is as important as what to do and where to go. Timing is crucial.
How so?
Well, right action at the wrong time can lead to resistance. Wrong action at the right time is still a mistake. Wrong action, wrong time, disaster. Right action, right time, success. It takes discernment to know when to make your move.
Then law #20, explosive growth.
Right. To add growth, lead followers. To multiply, lead leaders. Developing followers gets you addition. Developing leaders who can then develop other leaders. That gets you multiplication, exponential growth. It's the ultimate leverage.
How do you do that practically?
Focus on developing your top potential leaders, your top 20%. Play to their strengths, treat them as individuals, invest quality time in mentoring them.
And the final one, law #21, the law of legacy.
A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. This asks the big question: what impact do you want to leave behind? What do you want people saying at your funeral? Thinking about that shapes your purpose now.
Maxwell talks about stages here.
Yeah, from achievement, doing it yourself, to success, leading followers, to significance, developing leaders with you, and finally, legacy. Those leaders thrive without you. Your ultimate measure is how well the people you invested in carry on after you're gone. What's your life sentence, the core statement of your impact? Define it now.
Wow, that's a lot to digest. These laws really cover a huge amount of ground. Seeing them in action might help. Any real-world examples?
Definitely. Let's look at Howard Schultz returning to Starbucks in 2008. The company was struggling, had lost its way a bit.
Right, they expanded too fast.
Exactly. Schultz came back, and first, he essentially admitted his own leadership lid needed raising to handle the crisis. Law of the lid. But crucially, he reconnected with the employees, the partners, law of connection. Remember when he shut down all the U.S. stores for retraining?
Yeah, that was a bold move. Costly, too.
Very. But it sent a powerful message. Quality matters. You matter, your craft matters. He touched their hearts before asking for their hand, essentially. He reminded them of the why. And the result. Morale boosted. Customer experience improved. The company turned around financially. Stock soared. Classic lid and connection.
Okay, good example. What else?
Think about Costco again. We mentioned their wages and benefits. That's a textbook example of the law of empowerment. Law #12.
Matt.
By investing so much in their employees, they show trust and value. That empowers the employees. They feel secure, respected, and they take ownership. They provide amazing service because they feel valued. Jim Sinegal's hands-on style reinforced that.
And the results are clear, low turnover, high loyalty.
Exactly. Reduced costs, knowledgeable staff, happy customers, consistent profits. It's empowerment paying massive dividends.
One more.
Satya Nadella at Microsoft. When he took over in 2014, Microsoft had this reputation for being siloed, maybe a bit arrogant, a know-it-all culture.
Right, very competitive internally.
Nadella knew a deep cultural shift was needed. This wasn't a quick fix. It was the law of process, law #3, a long-term journey. He championed a growth mindset, learning, curiosity, empathy over the old way. But to get people on board, he needed the law of buy-in, law #14.
He had to earn their trust first.
Absolutely. He modeled the behavior he wanted: empathy, transparency, learning from failure. He shifted the culture from combative to collaborative. It took years, a consistent process to get that buy-in. But look at Microsoft now leading in cloud. Huge market cap, renewed innovation and purpose. It shows the power of process and getting people to truly believe in the leader and then the vision.
Those are great illustrations. Now, these laws sound incredibly powerful, almost like universal truths, as Maxwell suggests. But are there criticisms, any counter-arguments or nuances we should consider?
Oh, absolutely. And it's important to look at those. No framework is perfect, right? One common critique is that maybe the 21 laws, while helpful, kind of oversimplify leadership. It's such a complex, dynamic thing. Can it really be boiled down to 21 rules? Some worry that could make leaders less adaptable.
Like a checklist instead of nuanced judgment.
Sort of. Another point is the focus on the individual leader's traits and actions. Critics argue that sometimes the bigger issues are systemic organizational culture, power structures, inequalities, things that one person's leadership style might not be enough to fix on its own.
That makes sense. What about the examples used?
That's another critique. The book heavily features examples of, well, white male leaders. In today's diverse global world, people want to see broader representation. It raises questions about how universally applicable the framing feels if the examples aren't diverse.
Does that tie into the one-size-fits-all concern?
It can, yeah. The worry is that presenting these as irrefutable laws might imply they work exactly the same way everywhere, in every culture, for every team. But context matters hugely. What works in one place might not work, or might even be counterproductive somewhere else.
Although you mentioned Maxwell himself talks about adaptability elsewhere.
He does. And that's the tension. Good leaders do adapt. They read the room, assess the team's needs, flex their style. So maybe the criticism is more about how the law's framework could be interpreted rigidly, rather than as guiding principles needing flexible application.
What about cultural differences?
That's a big one. How you build influence, law of influence, or earn respect, law of respect, can vary significantly across cultures. Directness versus indirectness, hierarchy, collectivism versus individualism, all these impact how leadership plays out. You need cultural competence.
And finally, anything about, say, emotional intelligence?
Yeah, some feel that while connection law #10 touches on it, the laws overall might not fully emphasize the absolute centrality of emotional intelligence, self-awareness, empathy, relationship management, and modern leadership. Building those deep, trusting relationships often hinges heavily on EQ.
Okay, so those are important nuances to keep in mind. The laws provide a strong foundation, but context, adaptability, and cultural awareness are key.
Exactly. They're powerful tools, a great framework, but not a magic formula to be applied blindly. Use them as a guide, not a rigid script.
So, bringing it all together after this deep dive,
Yeah.
what are the key takeaways? How can someone listening start putting these into action?
Well, first off, get really clear on your vision. Define it, communicate it. People need to know where you're going and why. Second, make serving others central. Actively look for ways to add value to your team members' lives and work. It's not about you, it's about them.
Okay, vision and service. What else?
Trust your gut, your intuition, but always balance it with facts and analysis. Don't fly blind. Fourth, be super intentional about who you spend time with and who you develop. Surround yourself with great people and invest heavily in growing other leaders. That's the multiplier effect. And fifth, stay humble. Admit when you're wrong. Be flexible. Things change, you need to adapt. Don't get locked into one way of doing things.
Priorities, too, right?
Absolutely. Sixth, prioritize ruthlessly. Focus on what truly matters for impact and for your own sustainability. Busy doesn't equal effective. And finally, seventh, shift your mindset from just leading followers to actively multiplying leaders. That's where explosive growth and lasting impact come from.
And remember, it's a journey, right? Not a destination.
Yeah.
Daily commitment.
Precisely. It takes continuous effort, perseverance, but the potential is there for everyone. These laws offer a roadmap, a way to unlock that leadership potential within you.
So wrapping up, it really comes back to Maxwell's core idea, doesn't it? Leadership isn't just about your own accomplishments.
No, the real power is in empowering others to achieve great things. Unlocking potential in yourself, yes, but critically, unlocking it in those around you.
Okay, so maybe a final thought for everyone listening. What if you took a moment maybe later today and really thought about your personal leadership legacy sentence? What do you want people to remember about your impact?
That's a powerful question. And then the follow-up, how can you start living that legacy even in a small way by applying just one of these laws starting today?
Something to really chew on. Reflect on how these principles connect with your own world and just keep learning, keep growing on your own leadership path. Until our next deep dive, keep digging deeper.